Oh, well hello there. Welcome to the Dungeon of Xen. You just caught me here in my home office, also known as a small cramped corner in my bedroom, preparing for my upcoming D&D session. You know, I actually don't spend most of my prep time at a desk like this at all, as controlling the flow of thoughts, ideas, plans, and schemes that make up a narrative into a dedicated calendar block of time doesn't really work for me. Most of all that stuff comes in bursts of inspiration in the car, at work, during my kids' soccer games. You get the idea. But this moment, right now, right here, where I get to take all those errant ruminations recorded on everything from scraps of paper or napkins to my official D&D session journal, or even OneNote, and then record it all into a beautifully formatted session prep outline that will aid me in delivering a perfect game session to my players that will leave them floored and awed. Man, now that is my favorite part of the process. It is truly my moment of Zen, and I just cherish the fact that prior to every game session, I get to set aside hours and hours in peace and tranquility dedicated to crafting this. What? Oh my god, just open the door! What do you want?
Can I go to house?
It's the middle of the summer. You've got nothing to do and you've been playing video games since 5:30 in the morning. Why are you even asking? Just go! What?
Can you make stay here?
Oh my god. Is he out there right now? Are you out there?
Yeah.
Can you please promise to be good and not end up being sent home?
Yeah. But Dad.
No, shh. Do you promise to be good?
Yeah.
Okay, alright, fine. Take him with you. Now please, just go and leave me alone. I better not get any texts from their mom or dad, and don't come back until dinner, and no playing video games.
We won't.
Yeah, right. Now go.
I'm hungry.
Oh my god. And go get a snack.
Bye.
Okay, you got me. Staged though that may have been, seems like that happened about 50 times a day around here, and believe me, 9 times out of 10, in that exact same scenario, they will come back before dinner, just to bother me, and then they won't even eat the dinner. Parenting, it's hard. I mean, theatrics aside, I'm pretty sure you get what I'm trying to demonstrate here. Being a parent or not, we all lead busy lives, and finding dedicated time to really dig in and put in an honest effort into session prep, can be impossible sometimes. Whether you have significant others, kids, a job, you're in school, or you have friends outside the tabletop scenario, the tabletop world, maybe you play sports, or God forbid you have other hobbies entirely, you most likely live a life where all those things are vying for every little scrap of your precious free moments of time. So, what do many of us do to help us prep instead of actually preparing? Well, if you're anything like me, at least how I used to be, you find yourself throwing together a weak outline at the very last minute, or you're simply winging it all together and hoping your friends are too inebriated to notice. Or if you actually find yourself with a little extra time, motivation, probably more like guilt, you're scrounging the internet looking for content to steal, or you find yourself here on YouTube, searching for advice, tips, tricks, inspiration, confidence, anything to help you with your game. I mean, I assume that's why you're here right now, right? But in regards to YouTube, even though there is certainly ample value in these videos, and I myself probably watch way too many of them, I've always found most campaign prep videos to be lacking something critical, and that's the whole how the heck do we actually do this part. Infamously enough, the same is often said about the official 5e Dungeon Master's Guide, and in how it fails to teach aspiring DMs to actually be a DM, which, takes a lot more than funny voices and rolling dice. Then again, there is a new edition due out later this year, so who knows? Maybe they've improved upon it by the time you watch this video. I guess we'll see. Honestly, it seems more like people prefer to talk about D&D as a concept, or the drama around it, instead of discussing what it takes to actually run games successfully half the time. Don't get me wrong, I love all the great YouTubers, and I've watched hours of things like Critical Role and Dimension 20 on and off over the years. I'm actually rewatching Campaign 1 right now. But there seem to be very few channels, from what I've found at least, dedicated almost entirely to showcasing the art and science of session prep. They certainly exist, don't get me wrong, and Professor Dungeon Master of Dungeoncraft and Mike Shea of Sly Flourish are a few of my favorites. Honestly, if you're not familiar with either of those channels, feel free to check them out ASAP. I'll wait. And I'll even leave you a link down below. Unfortunately, Professor DM, he focuses on a great many other topics sometimes in most of his videos, and Sly Flourish's approach is just a bit too minimal, in a way. He does call himself the lazy dungeon master for a reason, and that works perfectly well for him, but we're not there yet. We still have some work to do before we reach that peak level of laziness, which we're always aspiring to, am I right? So that's what this channel will be about. It's the prep, the process, the work, the methodology that I use to streamline the experience of session prep by taking everything swimming around in my brain or haphazardly scrawled on something and compile it into something actually useful to table, whether real or virtual. Now, it is of course just my system, which is one among thousands, but I am excited to show it to you nonetheless. So, to preview what's to come on this channel, before each of my game sessions, I will showcase this method by literally showing you my journal. I will lay out my terrain. I'll let you take a peek at my VTT and how I set it up. And we'll discuss the whys and hows of content organization for the purpose of crafting an engaging session for any TTRPG. Now, at the risk of overinflating this video, I do want to touch momentarily on my modus operandi and the experiences I've had that led me to its formation. You see, it will become quickly obvious that most of the actual content I use in my campaign is not wholly original. Most dungeons, quests, locations, loot, and even some NPCs are lifted wholesale or heavily inspired by official modules, or other content found on the DM's Guild, Patreon, and the like, and of course, other YouTubers in their work right here. I've begged, borrowed, and stolen pretty much everything, and that's okay, even if my campaign world and overarching narrative are in fact entirely my own. I just want it known up front that despite a fairly common stigmatism you'll see online against using official modules or third-party content in a homebrew world, I in fact embrace it, and I think you should too. You see, before my current life in IT, I spent more than a decade working in education, beginning my career as a history teacher. And as anyone who's been in education before knows, some of the very best teachers rarely come up with their own lessons. They too beg, borrow, and steal what others have created before them. And this works pretty well for most really good teachers. That said, the greatest teachers go even further, because they're the ones that take that content, synthesize it, and distill it in a manner that is targeted for the specific audience, their students in that case. Because they know their students. They know what they're capable of, what interests them, what disgusts them, and they also know how to spark that little candle of inspiration buried beneath layers of inexperience, anxiety, and teenage hormones. They craft their lessons around those vagaries, and that's what we as game masters should be doing. Not just lifting wholesale or creating our story in a vacuum, but shaping content into what our players want, and most often, that content is already available out there for you to take. Now, frankly, this whole topic of generating content based on our players' needs is fairly well covered here on YouTube, but I want to take it even deeper. But Dungeon Xen, I hear you all saying. You started this whole video by saying that we all have very limited time to session prep. So how is synthesizing other people's ideas with their own bouts of inspiration and putting in the hard work to create a physical session journal going to save us any time? Can't I just go buy one of those AI campaign tools that'll do it all for me that I saw on Instagram the other day? Well, feel free to spend your hard-earned money however you want, and I'm guessing I have to shoot this whole channel in the foot before it even gets moving, because I gotta tell you, it's not going to save you any time. At least not right away. The reality of life is that unless you're some kind of naturally gifted individual, and even then they tend to have to work plenty hard themselves sometimes, you don't get better at anything without work and practice. It's like I tell my kids, those same ones that burst in the door just now. Or, when we acted like they burst in the door just now. When they're struggling with hitting a baseball or learning something in school or playing music on the piano, no one gets to where they want to be without the hard work. There are no shortcuts. As I said, you can buy whatever product you want, and God knows I've probably bought too many myself. But unless you want AI to run your game for you, the only thing you should be investing in to get better at being a game master is this. And in time, the process will become easier, it will become faster, and it will become better. That's the only guarantee I can claim, because I can only point to myself as a use case. I can only do what I do now because I've spent years developing this process, which is always evolving, by the way, and hopefully this channel will help jumpstart those skills in you and make you a better DM. And not a great DM, or even a good DM, but a better DM. Alright, get off your soapbox, bro. So, if I haven't already bored you to clicking off this video by now, I hope you stick around. I think there's going to be a little bit of everything for everyone on this channel, whether a new DM or experienced. And I hope it'll be a lot of fun for all of us. A lot of my content will be focused around organizing and outlining and writing, lesson planning, session planning. But I also intend to make videos around terrain and my chosen VTT. Not so much crafting the terrain, although there will be some of that as well, but more on how to use it effectively at your game table and not let it become a hindrance or a time waster. I also use my VTT for in-person play and not virtually so often anymore, so there will be some lessons to be learned there as well. Although regardless of whether you play online or in person, the bulk of these videos should offer you something of worth. So, the next video that will drop in a couple days is a campaign recap using miniatures, terrain, music, and a voiceover. That should be pretty fun, and it'll get you up to speed on where my players are at in the campaign so far. It's my first video in such a format, so I'm still working out some of the kinks, but it was fun to do, and I hope to do more in the future. The video following that one should be my first official session prep video, which is what I'm most excited about, but also what's giving me the most anxiety. I mean, I've only been procrastinating on developing this channel for, 9 months or so at this point. Beyond that, we should hopefully fall into something of a weekly or bi-weekly cadence as I hopefully fall into something of a rhythm. Hopefully. So, that's it for today. Until next time, I'll be seeing you.